that in their cover feature, they actually screw you over in such dramatic fashion that you may end up being stripped of your royal title. That is just what's happened overnight.
It is really hard with her and her, I would say, lack of brand clarity.
Oh, all right, I've had enough. Clapping for herself. That last part was on brand.
It makes you sound like really kind of into yourself in a way. I am sorry, but, and genuinely, I don't even mean to attack her. There was something frustrating about her, and I think he hits nail.
That you're trying to hang out with, and you're hanging out with the Kardashians, you're hanging out with people who have like sex tapes and show their vaginas on camera. You could be British royalty right now.
Why would you do that? That's not necessary.
She insists on being called or introduced to an empty room as Duchess of Sussex. Meghan Markle sold her soul to the devil to get a cover, not on Vogue, which is the one that she wanted, but on Harper's Bazaar. Oh, bizarre.
It's like she's playing a human being, like it's a performance.
When you first read it, you think, oh my God, they've just run all this sycophantic stuff about letting the dough rise and turning up and showing up and being authentic.
It sounds fake because they fear something.
It's her, trying to look glamorous and dewy, the big eyes, the hand on her chin, the slow head turn. Oh, on the couch, on the settee, with the silk dress, staring into the camera like an ingenue, like an innocent.
What's going on here? This is weird. If you don't like her, it's not your fault. It's because she's extremely unlikable, okay? She has the non-it factor.
Meghan and the girls assemble for a group photo. Some girls look straight at the camera, others squint and stare off to the side, an attempt maybe to stave off self-consciousness, or maybe they just didn't want to be there in a photo with Meghan Markle.
Wow, that really is just so insane. I just never thought that my life would ever end up here. She kind of sold her soul to the devil. Obviously, she's always wanted to be an A-list actress. She never wanted to be a princess. I called that from the very beginning. She wanted to be amongst the A-list because that was her life.
Meghan would show a lot of humility and make herself more likable to actually acknowledge some specific mistakes and some things that she has learned. Even if it was, I learned to be more careful about what I say about people and about family members because the Oprah interview.
The moment Harper's Bazaar dropped Meghan Markle's new cover, the entire internet went up in flames. And trust me, it wasn't the reaction her team was expecting. What was supposed to be her grand re-entry, her shining I'm back moment, turned into a full-blown spectacle. This was supposed to be her triumphant return, her sparkling fresh start. The plan? A clean slate, a new image. Something dazzling enough to make people whisper, oh, Meghan's back and she's unstoppable. Instead, when people saw those photos, jaws dropped not from admiration, but confusion. The styling? Odd. The atmosphere? Gloomy. Her expression? Empty. Almost lifeless. Not a woman radiating power or confidence, but one who looked like she was trying to convince herself she was fine. The whole shoot gave off eerie vibes, unsettling, not inspiring. It didn't look like rebirth, it looked like desperation dressed in couture. Like a woman fighting to appear unbothered while her world silently crumbles. But oh, that wasn't even the worst part. The real chaos began when the actual interview came out. The writer described Meghan like she was announcing a royal entrance. Poetic flourishes, dramatic tone, like the queen herself had just arrived at dinner. Except this wasn't a palace. It was Meghan Markle at a restaurant, sitting under soft lights, trying to look mysterious. The language was so over the top, it almost felt like satire, as if they forgot this wasn't royalty anymore. It was Meghan Markle, actress turned duchess turned celebrity, being dressed up in royal fantasy all over again. And then one little detail buried halfway through that article flipped everything upside down. A tiny line that Meghan probably thought no one would even notice. But oh, we noticed. She walked into a friend's townhouse in New York, a private home, nothing fancy, and the house manager announced her out loud as Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, to a nearly empty room. No event, no audience. Just Meghan and another person standing there. That single, bizarre moment hit harder than any quote, any pose, any photograph. Because what did it reveal? That Meghan may have walked away from the royal family, but she never walked away from the title. She clings to it like a crown she can't stop polishing. And that's when everything spiraled. The photos, the tone, the overdramatic flair, all of it started to make sense. This wasn't a comeback. It was a desperate act to remind the world, don't forget I was royalty once. When Candace Owens saw it, she didn't hold back. She didn't sugarcoat. She didn't tiptoe around Meghan's delicate image. No, she said what millions were thinking but too polite to say. Why does she need to be announced like that? Candace demanded. Who is she? Duchess of what? Candace Owens didn't call it a comeback. She called it what it really was, a total image disaster. Not because Meghan looked bad though, let's be honest, she did. Not because the interview sounded detached from reality, which it absolutely did. Not even because of that awkward announcement moment though, that was the cherry on top of chaos. No, Candace said it plain. Meghan has turned herself into something people just can't take seriously anymore. Candace tore down the illusion brick by brick. She said Meghan talks like she's a historical figure, a global icon, a revolutionary, but where are the actual accomplishments to back it up? There are no achievements, she said bluntly. At 40-something, her biggest claim is a failed brand, a flop podcast, and a photo shoot trying to prove she's still relevant. And that wasn't all. Candace noticed something chilling in Meghan's words, something millions of readers had felt but couldn't quite describe. Whenever Meghan talks about her marriage, it's always about what Harry does for her. He protects me, he loves me, he sees things I can't. Never, I love him. Never, I admire him. Never, I'm proud of him. Candace didn't mince words. It doesn't sound like love. It sounds like Meghan using Harry as a shield. And that's why her reaction went viral, because she wasn't attacking Meghan's looks or personality, she was calling out the performance. She peeled back the glamorous layers and showed what was underneath, a carefully rehearsed act of empowerment that felt more like insecurity in disguise. People flocked online. TikTok, Instagram, X, YouTube, everyone was saying the same thing. Make it stop. This is too much. Because once you strip away the dramatic lighting, the poetic writing, and that Duchess fantasy, what's left? A woman trying too hard to look important and failing miserably. And the photos? Oh, the internet ate them alive. Meghan sitting on the floor hugging herself like she's in a perfume commercial. Meghan staring blankly at the camera like she just remembered something awkward. Meghan wrapped in huge coats like she's solving crimes in a Netflix drama no one watches. It wasn't art, it was awkwardness with good lighting. People compared it to Princess Diana's iconic shoots, same poses, same emotions, same soft drama. But where Diana's photos felt genuine and warm, Meghan's felt cold and over-rehearsed. Side-by-side comparisons flooded the internet. Comments poured in. Is she trying to cosplay Diana? Why does she look like she's auditioning for a role she didn't get? It got brutal fast. Because instead of showing reinvention, Meghan's Harper's Bazaar spread revealed obsession with control, with image, with legacy. Every photo screamed, I practiced this 30 times. And nothing, not one frame felt real. By the time the Harper's Bazaar spread had made its way across social media, the backlash was already boiling. People weren't whispering anymore, they were shouting. The comments poured in like a storm. Some said she looked robotic, others said she looked like she was auditioning for the role of herself, but the consensus? Something about the whole thing felt fake. The worst part wasn't even the photos, it was the way Meghan talked. Because when she opened her mouth, it wasn't Meghan Markle, the woman, it was Meghan Markle, the brand. Every word was manicured, every sentence was wrapped in that polished, inspirational tone. Except it didn't inspire anyone, it exhausted them. And that's when Candace Owens came in swinging. She said what no glossy magazine editor would dare to say, that Meghan had officially crossed the line between royal reinvention and royal parody. Candace mocked how Meghan described Harry like he was her personal emotional therapist. He protects me. He lifts me. He shields me. The way she said it, it sounded less like love and more like dependency. Candace didn't stop there. She said what everyone was too polite to admit, that Harry looked drained, almost hollow, like the spark in his eyes had dimmed somewhere between Montecito interviews and staged charity appearances. He looks like a man who's checked out, Candace said flatly. And people nodded in agreement. Then came that line from Meghan, the one that made the internet collectively gasp. Harry sees media, I wouldn't. Innocent? Maybe. But to those who followed their story, it was a flashing red flag. Because everyone knows Harry's biggest flaw, his obsession with the press. He reads everything, he stews over headlines, he can't let things go. So when Meghan casually mentioned that, it sounded like she was throwing him under the bus while smiling sweetly. People didn't miss it. They saw what she didn't want them to see, a power dynamic where Harry carries the emotional baggage and Meghan just benefits from it. The moment she said that, fans stopped talking about their fairy tale love story and started whispering, is she exploiting him emotionally? The more people dissected the interview, the stranger it got. Meghan wasn't describing a marriage. She was describing an arrangement. It was like she was reciting a press release about how much she's adored, instead of how much she loves. Then, the internet found the most humiliating part, the announcement moment. Meghan walking into her friend's house in New York and having the house manager call out Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, like she's arriving at a royal gala instead of someone's living room, it was almost comical. Imagine sitting in your own home, drinking coffee, and someone dramatically announces your guest like she's entering Buckingham Palace. The absurdity was impossible to ignore. Social media exploded. TikToks were mocking it. Memes spread like wildfire. The Duchess of the living room. Her Majesty of Manhattan. People couldn't stop laughing. Even Americans who don't usually care about royal titles were cringing. Because in America, we don't announce people. We just say, hey, come on in. But Meghan, she needed an entrance. Always. And that was the exact moment Candace Owens pounced. She said, this behavior right here, this is why William is ready to strip those titles, because Meghan keeps flaunting something she walked away from. Candace was brutal but accurate. This isn't glamour, she said. It's desperation. It's the sound of someone clinging to a title because she has nothing else left. And she was right. The timing couldn't have been worse. Because while Meghan was trying to resurrect her Duchess mystique with a dimly lit magazine shoot, Catherine the Princess of Wales was out there doing what Meghan couldn't fake, being normal, relatable, and elegant without trying. The contrast was painful. Meghan looked tense, staged, and theatrical. Catherine looked natural, kind, and confident. People saw it and said, this is what grace looks like. Meghan's entire performance suddenly felt hollow in comparison. And the comments, they were merciless. Why is she using a title from a country she left? Does she think we're in the crown? This isn't empowerment, it's embarrassment. Candace said it perfectly. You can't claim to hate the royal system while cashing in on its title. Across TikTok and YouTube, clips of Candace's rants spread like wildfire. People who'd been defending Meghan started admitting she'd gone too far. The Duchess of Sussex moment became a cultural punchline. Even late-night hosts started making jokes about it. And as if things couldn't get worse, people began comparing Meghan's staged rebrand to her old Hollywood ambitions. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. This isn't a duchess. This is an actress who never got over not being A-list. Then Candace delivered her knockout blow. This Harper's Bazaar interview, she said, wasn't empowering, it was embarrassing. Meghan doesn't need PR, she needs therapy. Ouch. But people agreed. Because everything Meghan does, every podcast, every photo, every statement, feels like she's acting. There's no warmth, no honesty, no real emotion, just performance. Candace tore into that too. She's not speaking like a woman, she's speaking like a brand manager. She's a product trying to sell herself, and the audience stopped buying. And you know what? That's the truth. Meghan isn't hated because she left the royals. She's ridiculed because she can't stop performing royalty. Candace even joked she needs Taylor Swift's marketing team, someone to teach her how to just be human. Wake up, hair messy, say something real. But no, Meghan can't. She's trapped in her own script. It was savage, but she wasn't wrong. Then Candace pointed out something that hit home for millions. Americans don't do royalty, we do reality. And Meghan, she's all fantasy. That's why her Harper's Bazaar comeback turned into her biggest humiliation yet. Because instead of reinventing herself as relatable, she doubled down on being unreachable. Candace summed it up best. This isn't confidence. This is insecurity dressed up as confidence. By the end of Candace's takedown, the internet wasn't divided anymore. For once, everyone agreed Meghan had officially lost her grip on the public. People stopped seeing her as the brave woman who walked away from the crown and started seeing her as the woman who can't live without it. Her comeback had backfired spectacularly. The world wasn't applauding, the audience wasn't cheering, the Meghan Markle show was losing its viewers, and fewer people were clapping.